I'm Pastor Lee. I'm the senior pastor at Connect Baptist Church in Deagon. My sense of call stems back to when I was in high school, actually. We had a visiting prophetic preacher at the old Sandgate Baptist Church building, and I remember in the middle of his sermon he just points me out in the middle and says, "You got to come talk to me after the service." And so yeah, I remember going down to the front and chatting with him after the service. Mum was there because I was terrified. Didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, he was just passing on a prophetic word. Even when I was 14, I didn't know what to do with it. I was terrified. Honestly, I probably ran away from God a little bit after that. But yeah, I just remember God's call and him reaching out to me quite early on, to be honest. When I finished high school, I wasn't considering ministry or church pastoring or leadership or anything like that. I studied town planning, of all things, because I liked geography at high school and that seemed to be the best fit for what I enjoyed at school. So I studied 4 years at QUT, got my bachelor's degree there. Never worked a day in my life as a town planner. And yeah, I think soon after that I was involved in youth ministry, and I think youth ministry was where God started to really remind me of some of the things that he'd been saying throughout those high school years, even though I was running away from him. And yeah, things unfolded from there.
I'm Stephanie, and I'm a pastor at Parkridge Baptist Church. I was a lawyer for about a decade, so it was my husband that was the pastor. He became a pastor when we first got married, and so that was a bit of a shock, actually. We didn't see that one coming. And so he started pastoring. And if you asked me back then whether I was called to be a pastor or not, I would have said, I'm called to ministry, but just as a pastor's wife. And I was very happy, to serve in whatever Steve was serving. So if he was doing youth, I was happy to be at youth. If he was doing worship, I'd be at worship. So whatever was needed, I was happy to do. But then after I had children, I started having a series of dreams. And these dreams were strange and they were regular. And in every dream, I was called Pastor Stephanie. So these congregation members would call me Pastor Stephanie. In some of the other dreams, I'd either studied at Bible college or was going to study at Bible college. And then some other dreams, I was preaching and teaching. And so they just continued. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to talk about this. I can't just ignore it anymore. So I went to my husband and I talked to him. I was like, hey, I've been having these dreams. I've written them down. What do you think? Do you think they're from God? Do you think they're from me? Do you think they're from the pizza rate? We just didn't know. And so we prayed. We were like, okay, God, if this is you, can you confirm it? And over the next year, he just confirmed it. So many people said, hey, when are you studying? When are you becoming a pastor? There's a call in your life for that. And God just really did that. But then I had to study.
So I remember finishing high school, going into study town planning, and it was probably after high school that I at least started wanting to follow God. I remember reading my Bible more often and praying, and eventually getting baptized a year or so after that. And I think it was soon after I got baptized, the youth leader, the one overseeing youth ministry at the time, just tapped me on the shoulder and asked me if I'd be willing to join the team. I'd never considered that before. I'd never been part of youth ministry in high school when I could have been. It just wasn't interesting to me. I was doing other things. But yeah, that was an interesting time where somebody saw something in me that I probably didn't see in myself. And so I look back at that very fondly and with great admiration for that person, inviting me into something that I probably wouldn't have felt comfortable doing myself or putting myself out there and initiating that. So I remember being a youth leader whilst studying at QUT, doing town planning at the same time, and I was working at Woolworths in Nightville in my spare time, late at night when you're not having to be at lectures and stuff. But yeah, I think it was quite interesting because soon after I finished uni, the senior pastor of the church was tapping me on the shoulder and asking whether I'd be interested in the youth ministry, sort of youth worker role, and sort of taking on the youth ministry as the head leader. And that was, again, something that I probably didn't see myself doing or that I had the capacity to do. And I was quite an anxious person and still am a little bit, but I probably didn't think enough of myself to fill those shoes or to do that role. But God's call was constantly there in the background. He's reminding me, but also speaking and using other people as well as He continued to draw me in. So yeah, soon after I took on that role, I think the next phase of life was really just working part-time at the church in youth ministry, still working at Woolies, doing night fill, and it was always good having conversations with them about what I do outside of Woolworths, and Sundays are for church, and why can't you work Friday nights? Youth ministry. And yeah, that was quite good.
For me, was like the worst thing you could ever say is study, because I was totally traumatized, really, from law school. Totally traumatized. Like, I used to get blisters on my fingers from studying so hard. And the process to becoming a lawyer is like, you do a double degree, then you've got to do post-study, and then you've got to become a solicitor, and then you've got to do more study. So I was like, I'm not studying again. And so the journey to get me to actually study was really God being like, come on, I'll give you grace for this. And He did. So I did that, but that was a massive barrier for me. It was actually studying. So studying at Malyon was a real blessing, because they were so good and they were so kind. Even though I told them, I'm like, I'm really scared of this, and, but they were really good about that. So I studied at Malyon College, and then in my final year, I got offered a job here at Park Ridge Baptist Church to pastor alongside my husband. And we said, okay, God, if that's from you, we will do it. And so here we are, and it's 3 years on.
There was about a year where I was applying for jobs in town planning. I hadn't quite come to the realisation or commitment that God's calling me to vocational ministry yet. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a town planner. I can do some youth ministry, volunteering on the side, all of that sort of thing. But after a year of no successful applications, I basically started thinking about study and what could I do next. So I actually went to Scripture Union and did a Cert 4 of youth work, which really probably helped me appreciate youth ministry and my sense of call there initially. It really equipped me more than I was prior. And yeah, I think the next few years it was certainly God's asking me to minister to young people. And I remember getting a job as a chaplain at a private Christian school during that time as well. So I was doing youth ministry here at the church, I was doing chaplaincy in a private Christian school, and only the second year of chaplaincy, I really felt God say, I want you to pursue vocational ministry in the church, I want you to become a pastor. And so I felt a bit bad, because I know it's typically in chaplaincy and you've got relationships with kids in the community and the staff. It's good to be there for as long as you can and build that relationship. But I distinctly remember feeling like I had to finish up there and pursue Bible college and start studying the Word. And so it was in the second year there that I started studying part-time at Malyon, and started a graduate diploma of divinity. And yeah, God continued to call me out and then speak to me throughout that too. So yeah, made the decision, finished up in chaplaincy, and made myself available for more study and whatever God wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some significant people who are part of my journey. Firstly was my mom. When I was about 20, from really my 20s onwards, she would just say, hey, I really believe you're called to pastoral ministry in your own right. And I would be like, Mum, nah, I want to be a lawyer. But she was very insistent that she really felt that was a call in my life. Also my husband, he was incredibly supportive. He said a similar thing from a very, very young age as well. Hey, I think there's a call in your life to go into pastoral ministry. But the person that really helped me on the journey was my best friend, who's a pastor at another church. And when I told her, hey, I think I need to study and I'm terrified, she was like, hey, it's okay, I'll help you. we'll do this together. And she was just so gracious the whole way through it, just praying for me, guiding me. You know, when I called her up crying, she'd be like, "It's okay, you can do this." Yeah.
Yeah, I remember finishing that graduate diploma, and I didn't feel like I was finished studying, and God was continuing to give me more responsibility in the church. I had a good relationship with my senior pastor at the time, and there was just an ongoing change and almost transition there over many years. So I eventually started studying my master's at Bible College. I think it was 7 years part-time that it took to complete that degree, and it was a lot, juggling part-time study, part-time ministry, starting a family at the same time. It was pretty chaotic at times, but we got there, and I was able to finish the studies. And before long, our senior pastor was stepping away from the senior role. His time was finished. He was discerning, and so it was put to me, would you consider the role of senior pastor? So there was definitely a season of much prayer and discernment, talking to mentors and supervisors and close friends and family, that there was just a general agreement and affirmation that this is what God's calling you into. And so it took some courage and boldness to say yes, and here we are today. So yeah.
So what I'm up to now ministry-wise is that my husband and I pastor together, and that's a real blessing because we're very different. He's definitely more serious than me. I bring a lot of fun. And here at Parkridge Baptist Church, our motto is family following Jesus. And I believe families have fun. So if you come here on a Sunday morning, you are required to dance. They love it. So where we're at is, if you cannot dance, you can do this. But I just try and bring as fun as much as possible. The other thing I do is I am the president of an organisation called Logan Connect. Logan Connect has many different arms, but one of it is a program called Neighbour in Need. And in Neighbour in Need, what we do is we go into people's homes who've asked us, who are in desperate need. Maybe they have a health issue, maybe they're just in some sort of crisis, or maybe they're a single mom or an elderly person, and we help with whatever's needed. We help them move house, we clean things for them, we provide meals, and then from that place, if they want, we offer them counselling through the church, in a healing if they would like, and we bring them on a pathway into church, and not necessarily our church, but we connect with all the other churches around, and we bring that person into a family, because there's a family for everybody. And so that's a part of my role as well, and I absolutely love that. Being the hands and feet of Jesus is just such an honour, and the people I get to interact with in that role is incredible.
Yeah, my first encouragement would be to listen to that soft, small voice throughout the years. I believe God quite often reveals little bits and pieces throughout a long period of time leading up to something. So definitely pay attention to those small moments where you kind of go, is that God? Is that just me? Just trust your gut. And just seek God, discern, and definitely invite other people into that process. I was blessed to have people draw me into my own process somehow by calling it out of me, because I didn't have the confidence or the belief in myself. But apparently God did, which was really good, and other people saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. So whether that's ministry leaders or pastors or family and close friends, definitely involve other people in that process, because they know you pretty well as well, and they can, if they've got their best intention for you and have a good heart for you, then they'll want to point you in the right direction towards what God's calling you to.
Yeah, I would just say to a person who is thinking about going into pastoral ministry, what I would say is just ask God to confirm the call in whatever way that is. Because if God gets you into it, He'll sustain you through it, and His grace will be there the entire time. Where if you get yourself into it, you have to sustain yourself in it, and that can be very overwhelming. The other encouragement I would have as well is just to continue to serve where you're at to the best of your ability. humble service, as long as it's needed, and God will do the rest. And then the third encouragement I would have for a person think about study. Study helps you grow and learn and develop not only your character, but your theology as well.